Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to round 9 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Great Britain. We're at the historic circuit now of Matterley Basin, 1,950 meters long of hillside circuit. It's chalky, it's dirt, it's loamy, there's grip, there's rock underneath the surface. We've got a very flowing, wide racetrack. Lap times around 2:22, something like that. Possibly the longest racetrack on the MXGP calendar. So far today, we have had some fantastic racing in both MX2 and in MXGP. But up next will be MX2 Race 2, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. And the circuit here is situated about 5 miles east of the city of Winchester in Hampshire, right down in the south of England. And these images yesterday give you a perfect eye view of the racetrack. 25-ish degrees, probably a little bit warmer than that now. But the Matterley Basin circuit here, just a stone's throw away from the Matterley Bowl, actually, where boxing events used to be held to entertain the American troops during the Second World War, and where General Eisenhower addressed his troops prior to the D-Day landings more than 70 years ago. But beautiful part of the world. The MX2 riders out on their sighting lap. And if you missed it earlier, here's what happened in MX2 Race 1. The gate dropped, and over on the far side, Hunter Lawrence, gate number 1, didn't make the best start. Ben Watson, even further back, got stranded on the gate on his Khmer Yamaha. Watch to the inside, number 96, Hunter Lawrence. He spun out and got hit by 1 or 2 riders. He only lasted about 3 laps after that, but it was Prado who grabbed the foxhole shot, and Jonas, his teammate, who stole an early advantage at the bottom of the first hill to put his Red Bull KTM ahead of his teammate. Third, briefly, was Thomas Covington on his Rockstar Energy Husqvarna before he got passed by the young Spaniard, Ruben Fernandez, on the F&H Kawasaki. But Covington persisted, and that hard work paid off as the 2 KTMs disappeared at the head of the field. Marshall Weltin, the American, was in 6th position on his Jumbo Varmo Honda. And he was looking good as well with new engines and new suspension. But all of a sudden, 3rd place was under threat for the number 70 of Ruben Fernandez as Covington went grass cutting. Calvin Blandren found his way past Thomas Kjær-Olsen. And at the second time of asking, Thomas Covington made this move stick on the Spaniard. Around the outside, not a lot of room to work. That was on lap 5 of 14. Then Fernandez got caught out by Blandren for Team HRC. And then quickly after that, Marshall Weltin, the number 56 on the Jumbo No Fear Varmo Honda, who was having a sterling ride at the sharp end of MX2 Race 1. Ika Larinaga around the outside on his Diga Pro Grip Husqvarna, passing fellow Spaniard Ruben Fernandez. Thomas Kjær-Olsen found his way back past Blandren, and then back up the inside of his teammate Covington on lap 9. Jed Beaton got his lines mixed up. He collided with the Spaniard Ika Larinaga. He dropped down briefly, but regained positions in the closing stages to get back to 8th, as Covington went back past his teammate to get 3rd with 2 laps to go. And then shortly after that, the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of the Dane expired, and he would not score. But Jonas was your winner from Prado, Covington, and Blandren and Weltin. Let's go down to the grid, though. Lisa Leyland caught up with the rider who finished in 5th in Race 1, Marshall Weltin.
Things are really starting to heat up here in Matterley Basin, and I'm not just talking about the weather. 2 more races to go, but I want to speak to one of the protagonists of that first MX2 race. That's Marshall Weltin. Marshall, top 5 result in that first race, and I know you were here in the Nations, weren't you, last year? So it's a track you're slightly familiar with.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to do the Nations for Team Puerto Rico last year. And I definitely would say that's an advantage for me. One of my weakest downfalls is adapting a track, so it's nice to be able to come and be familiar right off the go and not have to, worry about hitting the jumps or where the braking points are. So it's just familiar, so it's nice to come into a race and you're familiar.
Yeah, and are you accustomed to these heat conditions or not?
I mean, I'd say it's a stereotype that Americans are good for the heat, but I don't know. I think it's either you just got it or you don't, because in America there's guys that struggle with the heat and sometimes it doesn't faze you. But I think it all comes down to your hydration and how well you keep on top of your electrolytes and just taking care of your body. But for me, doesn't seem to bother me too much. I got a nice vintage jersey, so hopefully it'll help out.
And just finally, we spoke to your team during that first race, and they said that everything seemed to just click for you. Changes were made to the bike as well. What sort of things were different on the bike?
Yeah, we made some huge leaps this weekend. I got some brand new Showa suspension and also a Vortex ECU to use and some race fuel. So it's like those things really helped out with the bike, and I think it showed in the results as well. Like, the bike is better, and I still struggle in my qualifying. It's typically not very good for me, but I don't know, in the race something just happened and it was nice, like, it just felt good.
Yeah, well, I'll let you crack on. Good luck for that second race. Marshall Welton there. Good luck to all the guys. They're just going out on the sighting lap. It's time for MX2, race 2.
The atmosphere starting to build then ahead of MX2 race 2. We are nearing the halfway stage of the 2018 FIM Motocross World Championship calendar. That will be France next weekend at Saint-Jean-d'Angely. But here's how the riders line up for MX2 race 2 as they finished in the qualifying race yesterday. Prado will go to the line on pole ahead of his teammate Paul Jonas, and the rest of the guys, as you can see on screen. Ben Watson will be helping, or hoping for a better start to race 2 than he had in race 1. Got stranded on the line, it looked like, and he worked his way through and finished a magnificent 6th place. He's still on course for a podium here at his home Grand Prix. Anthony Rodriguez, he was also very good, wasn't he? The Venezuelan came home in 9th, just ahead of Michele Chervlin, also Yamaha mounted this weekend. Great day here at Matterley Basin, completely the opposite of what we had at the Motocross of Nations back in October 2017. The sun is out, skies are blue, and mid-20s as opposed to the mist and the damp and wet conditions that we had back in October. Riders down on the grid then. There is your winner from race 1. Paul Jonas, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. That win in Moto number 1 was his 10th race win of the season, and he'll be looking to do the same again as he hopes to extend his championship lead. It was 22 points before race 1. The difference between first and second, which was Jonas and Prado in that first race, 3 points, 25 for a win, 22 for second, 20, 18, 16, 15 single digits right the way down to 20th place, where you pick up 1 point. But Jonas, 10 race wins now in the season. His gap 25 points over his teammate. And in terms of race wins, or round wins, sorry, Jonas has 4 Grand Prix victories. Remember, he won the first 3 in a row in Argentina, in Holland at Valkentois, the European round, and then Spain, Red Sand in Spain. Thomas Covington, what a great ride he had in Moto number 1. Sat there in 3rd for the middle part of the race, got passed by this guy, his teammate at Rockstar Energy, Husqvarna, and then with 2 laps to go, the American found his way back past the tall Dane. And then shortly after that, as you saw from the race highlights, or if you joined us live in the race, the bike of Covington's teammate expired, and that left Covington an easier route to 3rd place, but he'd done all the hard work before then. Calvin Vallandren, great ride for him to come home in 4th. Never had a great affinity with this place. And Ben Watson will be looking again on the podium at his home Grand Prix for the first time in his young MX2 career. Darian Sanai, bike at DRT Kawasaki. I went and spoke to him during the break. His start device broke and he didn't make the best start in MX2 race 1. He was having to fight his way through traffic, and he eventually got up to about 16th and then fell, tweaked his knee, but he's going to give it a go in the second race. There's Michele Chervlin. You'll notice that he's now riding for Yamaha SM Action MC Migliori as opposed to the Martin Honda squad. Conrad Muse will be hoping for a little bit more fortune. He was 14th in race 1, and the Hitachi Acer KTM rider could do with turning his season around right here, actually. No place better to do that than at home. 15-second board is gone at 30 minutes plus 2 laps. The race that decides the final outcome here at this British Grand Prix, Matterley Basin, round 9 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. The gate is about to drop. Hunter Lawrence will go to the line for this one as well. They held him a long time there. And it's Prado once again who cuts across everybody on the number 61, Red Bull KTM. A nice sweeping right turn. Rider down though, I think, at the back. And by a country mile, Jorge Prado with his 11th foxhole shot of 2018. His teammate quickly into second, though. Henry Jacobi is third. Number 10, Valandrin is fourth. And Hunter Lawrence, I think, right there in fifth, is he? I think it might be. Over on the far side. No, it's the 46 of David Puches, actually. Then Fernandez with another good start. So too Thomas Kjær-Olsen and Darren Sinai in around about 8th place ahead of the Belgian. Jago Geerts, Michele Chervelin, Simone Fallotti, Jed Beaton, Ben Watson is 13th. Ika Larinaga is 14th. They've left some of the ruts out on track. They've taken some out in the break. Either way, this track will shape up, but Paul Jonas in second position can't afford his number 61 teammate to advance too far ahead of him, because that will be a role reversal in the results, and Prado will win his fourth Grand Prix of the season if it stays like that, first and second. But Fernandez just a little bit wide on that number 70 Kawasaki as he headed out of that turn 10 on the infield section of the racetrack, up on the pegs, dancing his way through those deep ruts into this tight section, into the wave section here. Valandrin there, number 10 for Team HRC, he's in third. Found his way past the STC Racing. Husqvarna over on the left-hand side, looking to square back past the South African. Henry Jacobi. Puches well positioned in 5th place. Just behind these two, tight to the inside, the 19 of Kjær-Olsen, then 14 of Beaton, I think that is. Or is it Sterry? Both the FH Kawasaki's are right in there. In fact, it's Beaton. Beaton has already climbed about 6 or 7 positions on the opening half of this lap, so he's in no mood for messing around either, the big Australian. Jacobi looking to carve his way up the inside of number 10 on that factory Honda. Pretty close at the top of the hill, but the German gets his way and forces the issue, gets himself in the third. As Thomas Kjær-Olsen also finds his way past the Dutchman, David Puches. Right, Prado leads, Paul Jonas second, Jacobi third, fourth is Valandrin, fifth, Thomas Kjær-Olsen, sixth is the 46 of Puches, seventh, the Kawasaki, number 14 of Jed Beaton, eighth is Ruben Fernandez, his teammate, Simone Fallotti is 9, Jago Geerts 10, Ika Larinaga 11, Ben Watson in 12th place, 13th for Anthony Rodriguez from Venezuela. Josh Gilbert, again, the wild card here this weekend at a home round in 14th place. 15, Michele Chervelin. Covington, not the start that he wanted this time around, in 16th position. Hunter Lawrence, Nicola Bertuzzi, Richard Sakina and Samuele Bernardini of Italy, your top 20. Sinai out on the opening lap, or certainly probably obviously his knee, just looking at the time scoring screen, his knee maybe not quite strong enough for a second moto here, but Valandrin and Thomas Kjær-Olsen going at it at the bottom of the hill. These two fighting over 4th place. Sinai been down again, look. Probably a similar position to where he fell in race 1, actually, and Steve Dixon over on the left-hand side. Obviously making sure no outside assistance, but that bike looks beat up, just like its rider. Marshall Welton down in 27th place. The rider who finished 5th in race 1 is just behind Conrad Muse and Zach Pichon. 3 into 1. Doesn't quite go. In that left hand combination, the 70 of Ruben Fernandez, FNH Kawasaki, doing his best to stay ahead of Fallotti and Jago Geerts, I think it was, or Geerts. Yeah, there's Geerts, and also Covington right in the mix. So Geerts, and then Watson. Ika Larinaga looking to go up the inside of Fernandez there. He's closely followed by fellow Spaniard Larinaga, Jago Geerts, the Belgian, Ben Watson, and Anthony Rodriguez. So 3 Khmer Yamahas all locked together with 25 minutes to go. Let's wait and see how this one shapes out at the end of this lap, though. But not good drive for Fernandez. He's a little bit front end high, and he gets parked in the inside there by the 66 of Ika Larinaga on the Team Diga Procross Husqvarna. Right, over the line for the first official time there. Prado, fastest lap of the race, a 2:28.0, 2.7 seconds clear of Paul Jonas' Red Bull KTM teammate. Jacoby is third for STC Racing Husqvarna. They're about 2 seconds down. Prado may be leading, but he's just made a mistake half a lap ago in this long... Wow, he was lucky to get away with that, wasn't he? Continues to lead, though, by 2.7 seconds over Jonas. Jacoby third, Olsen fourth, Valandren fifth. Beaton is up into sixth now. He's just found his way past the Dutch rider David Puches on the LRT KTM. Simone Fillotti for Yamaha SM Action MC Migliori is next in eighth place. Ika Larinaga is 9. Ruben Fernandez has just been passed by the young Belgian teenager Jago Kietz. So Fernandez now 11, Watson 12, Rodriguez 13, Covington up to 14, Gilbert 15, Chervelin, Lawrence, Bernardini, Bertuzzi and Sakina are top 20, and there is the American Thomas Covington. He was on fire in race 1. It took him a few laps to find his way past the Spaniard Ruben Fernandez, but then he got there into third, stayed there for a handful of laps before he got caught and passed by his teammate. But he stuck to the task at hand, and Jago Kietz trying to find his way past the number 70 Fernandez here on lap 2. Can't find a way through there, though. You could triple, single through this section yesterday. But talking to Tommy Searle in the break, he was saying actually there's too much hang time. They've lit the takeoffs too high, so you go too much in the air for your 3-3-1 combination. So riders now, particularly in the MXGP class, 2-3-2, slightly different combination through that wave section. But Covington on the back of Rodriguez parks the Venezuelan to the outside, latches on to Jago Kietz, who's just been passed by his teammate Ben Watson at Khmer Yamaha. So back on the charge then, the 919 of Watson. We've got somebody down at the top of the hill. Who is that? That was a big one by the sound of it. Everybody has to go through that. Who was that? Jed Beaton. Jed Beaton has gone down on the stepper, and he must have, I don't know if he threw the bike away or what, but maybe we have a replay of that ourselves. But Watson down the inside of Fernandez. Watson looking sharp. But so far, though, Prado continues to lead by 3 seconds. Ben Watson charges downhill with 22 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Jed Beaton receives medical attention at the side of the racetrack. Not sure if he stepped off the bike or what, but he sat down. But from the sound of it, from our circuit announcers, that was a huge crash from Jed Beaton, who was up inside the top few positions after 2 laps. Ika Larinaga going around the outside of Simone Fillotti. So he picks off the Italian to go 7 on his Diga Procross Husqvarna. Meanwhile, just lurking dangerously behind them, Ben Watson on the charge yet again, just like he was in race 1. Came from stone last in the first race, did Ben Watson, to get an impressive 6th place finish. Marshall Welton, who finished ahead of him, is now up into 19th on his Jumbo No Fear Varmo Honda. Oh, how close was that between Fernandez and was that Kietz? Yeah, still getting squeezed as Covington doesn't want to queue up the inside. He'll go around the outside, and so too does Jago Kietz. Kietz looking for the dirt around the outside, but the inside always working just off the back of those guys. Over on the left-hand side as they come towards us on the blue Yamaha, Anthony Rodriguez. Wow, action all over the racetrack. Kietz did go through, though, in that sweeping right-hander, and so has Thomas Covington. So Fernandez now just starting to fade a little bit here in the closing on the second half of this race. So we've got Prado leading the way from Jonas. Those two just over the line now, and they are 3.3 seconds apart, so advantage Jorge Prado at this moment in time. Waved yellows still, as Beaton receiving the medical attention that he needs with medics at the side of the track. Well, this was close though a moment ago. Look, that was almost, wow. That was a hard moment there. That was a heart-in-the-mouth moment there. Certainly for young Jago Geerts. They were looking like they were swapping wheels into swinging arms. .5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. MX2 race 2 here. The MXGP of Great Britain at Matterley Basin. Thomas Covington, number 64 on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, has worked his way up to 11. He's got Jago Geerts on the Khmer Yamaha directly ahead of him, and Simone Fallotti, the Italian, on the Yamaha SM Action MC Migliori machine directly ahead of him. But Paul Jonas here, number 1, is losing touch with his young Spanish teammate who finished second behind him in race 1, and that'll be a share of the points and another victory of the season for the young Spaniard if it stays where it is at the moment. But still, 19 minutes plus 2 laps to go. There is a long way and a lot of laps left to run. Race 1 was a 14-lapper. We've only had 3 so far in race 2. Henry Jacobi just going through. There's Thomas Kjær Olsen and Calvin Verlandren for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna and Team HRC. South African in 5th place on that red machine there, number 10. David Porches about 9 seconds down in 6th place. And then we've got Larinaga, Watson 8. Jago Geerts is 9 and Fallotti is 10. But Jacobi parked in 3rd place at the moment. Again, the German having another good ride in 2018. 8th in the championship before we came here. 7th as it currently stands at the moment, this guy here, number 29. Had his home round 2 weekends ago. And finished 7th overall there, and we're going to go down, talk to his crew with Lisa Leyland.
Daniel, once again, Jacobi's showing good pace. He's 3rd behind the 2 KTM boys. How do you see this race planning out? Is he going to be able to keep that pace for the next 17 minutes?
Yeah, it was important, a very good start and ride a very good pace. Also in the first, we have a little bit luck, and we see here what's better in the first heat, and we hope I can go this pace by end from the race.
Best of luck, thank you.
Jacobi getting the hurry up. Even though he's in 3rd place, he's only 4 seconds behind Paul Jonas. Thomas Kjær Olsen 4 seconds further back, so he's kind of in that land of limbo at the moment. They see Jonas just out of sight at the top of this hill, and at the bottom of the hill there, the white Husqvarna of Thomas Kjær Olsen, who was luckless in moto number 1 when his bike expired after just getting passed by his teammate Covington, who regained 3rd. Nicely done there, picking up the front wheel, Jorge Prado. And 2.7, that gap's coming down. It was a 2:27.4, fastest lap of the race for number 1, Paul Jonas, compared to the 28.1 of your race leader, Jorge Prado. And Ben Watson here, going after Ika Larinaga, and he lines up a move up the inside. Tightens up here, though, as they drop downhill, but Watson, superb through that sweeping turn. Nails the position, takes 7th place away from Larinaga. He's going to be knocking on the door for a podium. That's what he wants. He's got 16 minutes plus 2 laps to go in which to do it. But where are the rest of the riders? Watson now was about 3 or 4 seconds behind Porches. That will be okay, but he's got a lot of ground to make up to Calvin Verlandren. But he is lapping quicker than the South African by about 1 second a lap. So don't write him off just yet. Don't write this guy off either. Number 64, Thomas Covington, on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, up around the Italian Simone Fallotti, and makes, as we say, about to say, makes light work of the Italian, but it tightens up around there. The camera, very deceptive. You get good speed around the outside, but the inside just prevails. So TC has to wait just a little longer to inflict a move on the number 95 ahead of him in light blue. Might happen just here, though. Oh, he switches to the inside, but the door gets shut well and truly firmly in his face. Has to wait a little longer. He was good down here in the first race. Covington, that's where he passed Ruben Fernandez eventually to get himself into that 3rd place after the first handful of laps. Watson has found his way past Larinaga. He takes over 7th place. We saw that a moment ago at the top of the hill. then Jago Kietz and Simone Fallotti here, number 95, in 10th place at the moment, just holding off the 64 is Covington. Spoke to his father, Mitch, in the break as well, as we were walking just up that part of the racetrack through the paddock there. And said that, you know, Thomas rode a very good race in the first one. He said, yeah, he did, but he said, you know what, just almost along the lines of not sure what makes him tick. Given up trying to figure him out these days, just kind of leave him to it, but making hard work of himself again in this second race with that 11th position at the moment. He's worked his way from, what, was he outside the top 20? Chasing the dirt as he looks to find a way back past the 95, the Italian Bellotti looks to cut back to the inside. Not going to get through there. Bellotti looks to the inside. And we've seen the inside actually work with Watson a lap ago when he found his way past Larinaga by the time he got to the bottom of the hill. But again, Bellotti, the Italian, on the blue Yamaha, just making Covington here, number 64. Just work a little bit more. Just behind them is Chervelin, actually, on the new Yamaha. Of course, his teammates to the guy there at the top of the hill, number 95, Bellotti, formerly of Martin Honda, but no longer there. First race on his new machine. There he is in yellow. Just behind him, Anthony Rodriguez for Khmer Yamaha. The Venezuelan taking his second ride for Yamaha this weekend. Filling in for the injured Seba Brulikov. Covington looks to go around the outside, and Bellotti tried to run him out there a little bit further, but Covington repays the favour and the compliment. This time he makes the pass stick. Prado, though, edging away from his teammate Jonas. 2:26.5, 2/10 quicker than the number one behind him. But it was the fastest lap of the race. And he looks very cool, doesn't he, at the head of the field at the moment. There's his teammate across the way, Tony Cairoli. That was a fiery race. If you didn't see it, wait for the highlights from MXGP at the top of the broadcast from MXGP Race 2. But for now, though, 12 to go. Prado still leads by just over 2 seconds. Paul Jonas drops downhill. We've had 6 laps complete. He continues to push on after his teammate. He knew it from race 1, the post-race interview that he did. He said it's a difficult place to overtake. The speed is very similar. And he knows that you can't afford to leave that kind of ground. But third place up for grabs here and up for discussion. We pan away at the inopportune moment as TKO, Thomas Kjær Olsen, looking to find his way past the 29 of Jacobi. And I think he may just find his way through. Takes him to the outside. Oh, and Jacobi responds, and I think they touch there. And they might touch again here. And both riders get caught up in the melee. And that plays right into the hands of Calvin Valandren, who takes 2 positions in about 100 metres. Well, Jacobi wasn't taking any of it, was it? I don't care that you're third place in the championship. I don't care who you are, TKO. Watch this. Bit of shenanigans there. Took him out to task. And he's like, you know what? You want to play those games? More than happy to. But both riders lose out to the Honda of Calvin Valandren, who now goes from 5th to 3rd. In a moment of madness for both the two Huskies. Valandren won't mind about that, though, will he? Place has never been good to him. All of a sudden, he might get away with the podium here. That'd be nice, won't it? Seven laps complete. Still nothing in it between Prado and Jonas, still hovering around 2 seconds. Valandra and Jacoby Olsen now your top 5. Valandra now up in the 3rd after his double pass on the 2 Huskies a moment ago. And Valandra was sitting patiently in 5th position as the 2 Husqvarnas of Henry Jacoby and Thomas Kjær Olsen tripped themselves up just a half a lap ago. Here's how it went down. Be interesting to see it again. And Jacoby had got caught by Thomas Kjær Olsen. He then got ran wide by the German. The 19 of TKO then said, you know what, I'm coming back at you. Found a new line, thought he'd close the door, but Jacoby was having none of it. And then they both got caught up. And Valandra, he said, well, you know what, thank you. And by the end of the next section, Valandra was gone from 5th to 3rd. And Valandra hasn't got away from them. And TKO looks mad as well, because look, he's got himself right back into contention as he closes back in on the 29 of Jacoby on that STC Racing Husqvarna there. This is where it happened a lap ago. Prado continues to lead though, Jonas 2nd. Valandra on the Honda trying to escape in 3rd. The 2 Huskies of Jacoby and Thomas Kjær Olsen 4th and 5th. Watson now up in the 6th, but he is only 6 seconds behind TKO, and Jonas has closed all over the back of Prado. It was 2 seconds at the start of lap 8. 2 fastest sectors for Jonas. 40.2, 34.0 in total. He's gained about 9/10 of a second in there alone. Loses a tenth in the 3rd sector, but all of a sudden 2.079 is going to be about 9/10 of it as they hit the line. 1.1 and the fastest lap of the race for Jonas. A 2:26.2 compared to the 27.1 of the race leader, number 61 there, Jorge Prado. Maybe 1 or 2 mistakes starting to creep in, all in. That's what Bart's saying, and it's your race, says Jonas's mechanic. I love how they just pick their wheels up over the bumps there, just to soak it all up before they disappear over that crest. Steeper on the descent than it looks on TV, but this Matterley Basin circuit, absolutely beautiful. Wide and flowing. So much traction out there. When it's really dry, though, might be a different story, but fortunately we have good track crews who stay on top of all that just a little bit, here and there, little and often. That's nice, isn't it? Behind these 2, Valandra still hanging on to 3rd, Jacoby 4, Olsen 5, Watson 5 seconds behind Thomas Kjær Olsen. The overall classification will look like this, though, if it stays like this. 47 points each for Prado and Jonas in that order. Valandra will be on the box in 3rd on 38, so he's got room to breathe, because Jacoby on 32, Covington on 31, 5th overall, and Watson will be 6 on 30. But Jonas has got himself right back into contention here. Double, 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 single, or 3 doubles and a single. Trying to stay out of the roost as and where he can. Not a good turn that for Prado. Looked like he locked up, whereas Jonas was just a little bit more flowing, and it might tell here. Got to pick a rut, any rut. Is that your rut? Jonas has established his. Looks to cut back to the inside here. Whoa, absolutely bar to bar. Fans getting on their feet for this one. Going to square him back off here. Great move that from Jonas, but he's getting kept to the outside. And he will try to cut back again. No, Prado lets him take the outside, and he takes the lead. Both riders keep it in there, though. They both triple up. Aggressive move that from Jonas as he sides his way into the lead. And is this going to be another record lap for him? He was 1.1 behind. It's a 26.6, 28.8. 1 second ahead now. Prado will try to respond. That's what he did in race 1. Just ran out of time, though, in the first race. Watch this. Had to go the long way round here. Prado probably thought he was going to pitch it back to the inside, but oh, great move, brave move from the number 1 of Jonas. And he's trying to make a break for it now as well. Triples his way into the bowl turn at the top of the hill. In turn 4, they drop down again. The start of Sector 2 starts now. Jonas, his Red Bull KTM, just dancing around beneath him as he drops to the bottom of the hill. He won't look back either. He'll just get his head down and carry on. Meanwhile, further down the order, Marshall Welton, who was 5th in race 1, is up to 16th now. Had a poor start. He was buried around about 27th, 28th place on the opening lap, but he's had a hard slog through with that new engine and new suspension and new parts, new fuel. Got a great start in the first race. That obviously helped, but it's okay getting a good start. But we see guys who aren't able to stay up front. Welton did just that. He was in 6th for much of the race. Picked up another place when Thomas Kjær-Olsen here, number 19 on the outside. His bike expired with 2 to go when he was in 4th behind Thomas Covington. Covington, by the way, in 10th place, about 4 seconds behind the young Belgian, Jago Geerts. Lap times for those two, 28.5 for Covington, 30.4 that time around for Geerts. So there's still time for Covington to pick up another place, or 2 actually, in the closing stages. There's Watson in the background, in red and white, coming towards us now. We'll have to be content with 6th overall is Watson at the moment anyway. But here's Jonas and Prado. Prado looks like he's gained a bit of ground here. A slight stab there to the ground, nothing in it too much. Gap 1.4 seconds, 3/10 gained for Jonas that time around on his teammate. But Jonas continues to lead Prado by 1.5 seconds, and we're waiting for Verlanderen to come through. Jacobi and Olsen as your top 5. This will be a big result for Jonas if he can stay there. Yes, it's a dirt track, it's outdoor, it's a motocross track, but just with the nature of the jumps, probably more suited to Jorge Prado, who took the qualifying race win in fine style on Saturday. Jonas may have made a few tweaks to his setup in order to combat that threat from Prado. It worked in race 1, and it's currently working here in race 2. Round 9 of the FIA Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Great Britain at Matterley Basin. Verlanderen is still 3rd. This guy here, though, 29, STC race in Husqvarna. Henry Jacobi hasn't let him out of his sight. He can't afford to relax or switch off because the guy in the background there, number 19, Thomas Kjær-Olsen, is still applying the pressure from behind. He's in 5th place at the moment. 3 seconds clear now of Ben Watson. Watson is inching closer. A full second quicker than Olsen that time around for Ben Watson. Here he is on the Khmer Yamaha. And Covington down from 10th. He keeps it going, though, and I think he may, he stays ahead of Chervelin. So does not lose a position, but just loses ground. And here's White at the bottom of the second downhill. Front end gets away from him. At some point, you've got to say, all right, let it go. So Covington picks himself up just ahead of Michele Chervelin. Holds on to that 10th, but he was breathing down the neck of Jago Geerts. Got to within a couple of seconds of him. Oh, it's going to be 3 laps to go. Just like race 1 then. It's going to be a 14-lapper. Back end dancing around there, just at the end of that final straight for Jonas. Paul's Jonas with 3 laps to go. Hits the line, 11 laps complete. Sets the fastest lap of the race, 2:25.883. Jonas pushes downhill. Oh, Olsen out again. Whatever the problem was in race 1, it looks like that could have had a repeat effect in race 2. And he will be heartbroken. Coming away from Matterley Basin with no points on the board. The rider, 3rd place in the championship. He had 42 points on Ben Watson at the start of the weekend. And Watson currently sitting on 31, but he will take a point, an extra point, 2 points, with where he is in the race at the moment, in 5th. And so that championship battle is going to close right up. We'll check the points next time around as they come through, but that's going to play into the hands of Ben Watson. He may not get, I say he may not get on the podium. He might now. Let's see. No, he's not. Valandrin is on 38. Watson will only advance to 32, so it's unlikely that the Brit will make the podium in his home round. But what he will do, though, is take another hatful of points out of his home round, and he will be on the fringe of 3rd place as we head to France in a week's time for round 10, the halfway stage of the 2018 FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of France, Saint-Jean-d'Angely. Valandrin can't afford to switch off. Jacoby, this has been a good slog for him. Fitness levels put to the test. He's getting used to being at the sharp end, isn't he? Whoa, okay. Just a little bit left of where he wanted to be, Valandrin. Another fastest lap of the race for Paul Jonas as he extends his lead to 3.2. And Watson, all of a sudden, is closing in on Jacoby. This is for 4th place. And there's Valandrin as well. He could still get on the podium here then. Ben Watson possibly. Wow. Talk about digging deep. He's got a great mentor in the corner that he works with on a daily basis, and the former world champion, Jackie Vimon, who was the first ever world champion for France back in '86, but nothing in it. Jacoby was probably expecting it to be Thomas Kjær Olsen, but Watson getting the fans on side as he goes after. Well, he gets unseated there, though, as he gets out of that final turn onto the start straight. Come here, Yamaha rider there, all patriotic in the red, white and blue. Charges down past pit lane. Has to move to the outside. That bike setup is working perfectly. He can charge so hard down those hills, turns it on a dime. Can't quite make the inside work for him there. Oh, and the back end lights up on him just when he didn't want it to. Watson's still going to be still on 31 points in terms of the classification. 2 more here will put him on 33. Charges down the inside. Great move from Watson. Just riding like he's on rails. Definitely got, in football terms, and you have the crowd as the 12th man. That's what he's got here. Look at the distance he's put already between himself and Jacoby. Jacoby's almost gone, okay, there's the towel. I'll sit here. I'm happy with a 5th place finish here. But Watson, he ain't done yet. He wants the scalp of Valandrin of Team HRC, and there he is. He can smell the deodorant of Valandrin. Not a lot in it. Just over a lap to go. Fans on their feet, urging Watson around every inch of this racetrack. This is the gap between the first two. Jonas and his teammate Prado. Last time we came here in 2016, we weren't here for because of the Nations last year, remember? It was Hurlings who was victorious. Jonas was on the podium 3rd behind Dylan Ferrandis. So he'll get his name on the winner's trophy, but Valandrin, he will, this time around, if he hasn't already, get the hurry up from his pit crew down there in pit lane to say that Watson is closing, and he's closing in fast. Slight bobble there in that final turn for the number 10, who is looking at a podium here. Back-to-back podiums it will be for the South African. He's only got one this year. That was in Germany 2 weeks ago. And he's never had success at this racetrack before. He's either been injured or had mechanical issues or just poor form. Bad luck. He's 28.8. Yeah, their lap times were pretty identical that time around, so he's got a little bit left in the tank to get him through the closing stages here, possibly. That'll be a podium as it stands right now. Watson, yeah, he'll move to 33. He'll be 35. If he finds his way past Valandren will drop from 38 to 36, so still wouldn't be enough for Watson to get on the podium. It's going to be 4th overall in his home round for the Khmer Yamaha rider. Trying to make one last push. Prado there in the background. It was a 3-second deficit at the start of this final lap 14. Jonas knows, though, not to relax. Whoa. Rider there just bouncing through the double. I think that was Anton Goal, actually. 2.97. Didn't make the distance over that double. How lucky was Prado there. He's throwing everything at Jonas here on the final lap. The back end almost out of the track. Just watch this here. Jonas can hear the fans getting animated. Watch him here. Boom. Catches a horrible edge of berm there. But Jonas is in control. He was 2.8 seconds clear at the start of the lap. A slight bubble again on the exit in the final turn. Prado threw everything at him in the final stages, but 1.2 in it, a personal best lap of the race for Prado on the final lap of 26.1. But Jonas walks away from here as a double moto winner. 11 wins in the books now for him in 2018. And for him, it is his 5th Grand Prix victory of the season. And he will extend his lead from 22 to 28 points over his teammate Jorge Prado as we reach the halfway stage of the MX2 World Championship. Valandren hangs on for 3rd. Watson just runs out of time, and Valandren knows that that's a podium. Finally, he turns things around here with Team HRC. So, Paul Jonas then, your winner, a 1-1 score for the Latvian. Here he is with Lisa Leyland.
Paul Jonas, congratulations, winning both races. You got your 5th overall of the season, and of course you've extended that championship lead.
You know, this been a while, you know, felt that it's been a while since I go 1-1 again, and you know, this was, I would say, one of the best motorcycles of the year. You know, I managed to pass Jorge, you know, in previous rounds, if you take a whole shot. It was difficult to pass him in the mid-race, but this time I made it happen, you know. I had to close the door on a jump, you know, that was a little bit pity, but, you know, that's racing. I didn't want to keep passing me back, but I have to say huge thanks to Red Bull KTM Factory Racing team, all the team behind me, you know, they did a great job, and, you know, see you next week in France. I'm feeling good and looking forward for next race.
Congratulations, thank you.
Harry Everts the first, or the second person to congratulate Paul Jonas then, as he walks away with another double victory. Took 3 on the bounce, he took another one in Russia. That's 5 now for Paul Jonas in 2018. And he extends his lead over his teammates in the process, who could only manage 2 seconds. Still very impressive for the young Spaniard, of course. But he came up against a very stubborn Paul Jonas this weekend. Fans have had an absolute treat here at Matterley Basin for round 9 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. We have as well. There's still one race to go, of course, MXGP race 2. But Paul Jonas victorious in race 2 to the tune of 1.2 seconds over his teammate Jorge Prado. Back-to-back wins here for Jonas then today. 11 in total for the season. And he's got more than one moto over his teammate now. Results coming up next. Here's the official confirmation then of MX2 race 2. Paul Jonas and Jorge Prado first and second yet again. Valandren takes a third, followed that backs up his fourth in race 1. But Ben Watson fourth, Henry Jacobi fifth, Larinaga, Geertz, Puches, Covington was 9th, Chervelin was 10, Rodriguez 11, Velotti, Welton, Lawrence 14 and Herberto. And the overall, another perfect day. This time in the Garden of England at Matterley Basin for Paul Jonas. Jorge Prado, second overall. Calvin Valandren turns the demons around all the years of bad luck and heartache of being here as 125 or 250 European or MX2 rider, and he finally gets on the podium. Back-to-back podiums for the South African as well. And the gap between first and second at the top of the championship now to 28 points. And what was it, 10 points behind Ben Watson now, Thomas Kjær Olsen, something like that. Not much more than that anyway. And manufacturers look like this. KTM kind of running away with it. But there'll be the Latvian flag at the top of the podium here. But Jorge Prado, another flying start. 10 foxhole shots. Mick Beryl, the Fox dealer, handing him the black plate. Been around a while. Good to see Mick. Sorry, 11 foxhole shots for Prado. Podium ahead of the MXGP race 2. But Calvin Valandren, that will be a big beaming smile because finally he's turned this race into one of his favourite tracks. He loved the track anyway. Calvin Valandren, Team HRC. Steps on the podium for the second time this year, the second successive Grand Prix as well. Germany 2 weeks ago with a 3-3 and now here with a 4-3. Jorge Prado, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. He tried, he threw everything at Jonas, but it just wasn't enough. 2 second place finishes for him, but for the 5th time this year, Paul Jonas will stand alongside his Red Bull KTM teammate on the top step of the podium. And Dirk Grubel will take stage left as we look at it. It would have been Claudio De Carli had it been Prado on the top step of the podium. Calvin Valandren will take his 3rd place trophy from my old boss, actually, for 7 years, Steve Dixon. And the guy responsible for bringing us here to Matterley Basin all those years ago in 2006. There you see the MXGP of Great Britain organised there. And of course, he's a team owner as well, so he got 2 hats on this weekend. Bike It DRT, Kawasaki owner. Second trophy to Jorge Prado. Peveril Bruce, Matterley Estates. Thank you, sir, for letting us use your wonderful back garden, shall we say. Mitch Covington hands Paul Jonas his winner's trophy. Of course, Mitch, VP of Sports Marketing at Monster Energy.
And the trophy to the winning team manager, Red Bull KTM.
A regular visitor to MXGP. And Peveril Bruce handing Dirk Gruber the team trophy for what Paul Jonas achieved here this weekend, and those guys as a team. But another red plate. It's now 28 points of difference between Paul Jonas and his teammate Jorge Prado. Mr. Tony Skillington, the FIM CMS director, on hand to deliver. Just 1 matter left. National anthem for Paul Jonas and Latvia. Paul Jonas then for the 5th time this season stands on the top step of the podium. All 5 of them have been double moto wins. Jorge Prado 2nd overall and Calvin Valandrin 3rd. We'll talk to the top 3, the other side of these best moments. Right, riders and presenters are in place. Let's go down to the winners' enclosure to talk to Paul Jonas, our winner. He's with Lisa.
Paul Jonas, congratulations. I spoke to you after the end of the first race. You said you weren't completely happy with your riding, but you managed to pull it out of the bag. You went 1-1 and got your 5th overall. Tell us how that second race went for you.
Yeah, second race I felt really good. You know, maybe not in the first minutes because I was, you know, I lost a little bit of gap to Jorge, but then I just tried to settle in, ride my own lines, and then I catch up to Jorge, managed to pass him and get a win. You know, I'm really happy with going 1-1 again. You know, it's good to start those three races in a row with a win, with a 1-1. So I'm really looking forward for next few weeks. I'm feeling good, and just thanks everyone who support me, and see you in France.
Congratulations, thank you. Second overall today we have Jorge Prado. Jorge, 2 whole shots for you. That second race you look really cool at the head of the field. Perhaps a couple little mistakes to allow your teammate through.
Yeah, second motor I got a good start again. Got a whole shot and then I started to pull away a little bit. And then in one point of the motor I just didn't, I don't know, I just couldn't go faster, and Paul's was really fast this weekend, really pushed me a lot. So yeah, at the end he passed me last lap. I tried to get him back, but it was already too late. So yeah, I'm happy with my second place. Again on the podium, so really happy about this weekend.
Okay. Great job, thank you. Third overall today we have Calvin Valandrin. Calvin, your 2nd consecutive podium in the row. Tell us about that second race. Ben Watson was closing in fast, wasn't he?
I saw him the last about 10 minutes ago. I saw him catching, and I knew I had a bit of a gap to him. I had a good start in the moto. I was just next to Jorge, and he went to the inside. I ran wide and lost a few, I think 1 place or something like that. And then the first few laps I made some mistakes, and Jacobi got past me, Olsen got past me, and then kind of try to find a rhythm behind Olsen to try and catch on to him, because I know he was riding good. And last 10 minutes I had Ben closing in on me, so it's good to get it on the podium, 2nd in a row, so let's keep the momentum going for next weekend.
Great job, well deserved, thank you.
Yeah, good job, Calvin Valandrin and Team HRC getting him on the podium here this weekend. Back-to-back podiums now for the South African. But still a little bit out of touch from the 2 Red Bull KTMs ahead of him this weekend. Jorge Prado had to settle for 2nd, whilst his teammate Paul Jonas marched on to another impressive double moto victory. Wasn't easy though, that's for sure. These guys will do it all again when we go to France in a week's time.